MSP NFL picks. Came out on top with one of the Monday Night Football games. So yeah, so I'm your champ for this week, for Week 9 MSP this week. So I got to gloat about that. And I got to gloat about a lot of things this week, But obviously, Bonas had their exhibition game last week when I was on the show, and they just opened up the regular season this past Monday, get a huge win over Bradley. So St. Bonaventure won to start the regular season. They're great in the exhibition, and they just found a way to beat Bradley. It was an 11 a.m. tip-off, and they found a way to win this one on a neutral site game. I think that's a really good mid-major program in Bradley, so that's a good win to start up for St. Bonaventure. 69-63 was the final on that one. And last night, the Duke Blue Devils opened up their regular season last night in Charlotte. The first ever Dick Vitale Invitational. It was cool. He was announcing his own kind of neutral site game. He's had the legendary Dick Vitale announce that game that's named after him, And Duke win the very first one. So Duke beat Texas by 15. It was 75-60. So, first half, Texas hanging there, but then all of a sudden they pulled better in the second half. But still, Cameron Boozer came out scoring 15 points all in the second half. He didn't score a single point in the first half. Second half, he looked great. Isaiah Evans played phenomenal. Had a lot of threes too, but there's some other guys that played well still. But the key reason why the Bonnies won is, yes, Joe Grahovic looked good too, but also the eyes pointed. It all points to pretty much Buddy Simmons. He had like at least 5 or 6 three-pointers made. 24 points. He had a great game. So, yeah, both my college basketball teams want to start the regular season. Both a neutral site ones, too, so that's huge. But now let's recap last week for college football, starting with that Carolina-Syracuse game. Hope everyone had a great Halloween weekend, obviously. But, Bill Belichick goes into the Central New York, goes into Syracuse, gets his first ACC win. It was low scoring in the first half, but second half, Carolina shut out Syracuse in the second half. Didn't allow a single point. So Carolina defense shut them down. Bill Belichick ran the ball up their throats, man. And Lopez looked good for quarterbacks. So Carolina dominated the second half. That's the reason why they won. They forced some turnovers, too. The defense looked good, too. So Belichick, his first conference win comes in the Carrier Dome on Halloween night. It's a good win for him. And of course, I saw in the postgame movie, Belichick was actually smiling, which is rare. But it was supposed to be the biggest game of the year, preseason wise. When you saw before the season started, Penn State, Ohio State. These were the top two teams. We thought going in there. They rate Penn State ahead of Ohio State in the preseason poll. But Penn State started 3-0. They lost 5. They lost 4 straight going in there. Ohio State, number 1 team. Ohio State took care of business. They beat Penn State as usual. But this one kind of didn't surprise me. Usually I pick Penn State the last few years, but now I took Ohio State. I had a feeling I'd win this one. Of course, I ended up going the Elks because there's a lot of Penn State and Ohio State fans there, so it was pretty cool seeing that, Still, doesn't surprise me that Ohio State shut down Penn State in the second half. So yeah, good dominant win for the Buckeyes. They dominate the Nittany Lions again. This one wow. Texas looked phenomenal in the win over Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt almost came back. They made it interesting there at the end, but Texas come away with the win. That's a huge win for the Longhorns if they want to be in the playoff conversation. That's the team you had to beat. A top 10 Vanderbilt team who's had a tremendous season. So good win for the Longhorns. Though in that one. The 3:30 matchups we had. Georgia survived a scare from the Florida Gators. And they managed to win this one in this rivalry matchup. So that's a good win for Georgia. Just a much needed win. They survived it, in a typical rivalry game. Indiana puts up 50+ again. They beat Maryland 55-10. Boy, do they look good again as usual. Well, my Virginia Tech Hokies. We were up 16-7 at halftime. Look, we were looking great against Louisville. Before the turnover, we did everything right in the first half. Second half, we folded. We couldn't score a single point, and then Louisville scores 21 unanswered, 20-16. Louisville pretty much won that game. Yeah, rough one for my Hokies. The second half was so bad. First half, we looked great, and then the second half, our offense shut down. Our defense was gassed. Our defense kind of kept it in for a while, but they ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. That was the difference maker. Pitt, no surprise there. They won by double figures against Stanford. They're definitely in the conversation for the AC championship game with that win over Stanford. I think so now. They're definitely a contender. What else we had, in the 3:30 slate? I think that's about it for the 3:30 ones. Yeah, the nightcap. You had Ole Miss dominating South Carolina. So Ole Miss gets back on track. I mean, Ole Miss with another big win. I mean, of course, I thought South Carolina was going to give them fits, but at the same time, I had a feeling Ole Miss would win this one at home, especially at home. The big upset of the week: NC State knocks off number 8 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech suffers their first defeat of the year. 48-36. I mean, I just did not expect this one, honestly. I did not expect NC State to win this one. I thought it was going to be a tricky one, but I thought Georgia Tech would barely win. But, that one hurts their chances, but I think they're still going to be a playoff team. I feel like they could have still have a good chance of making the playoffs. That one stings, though. Losing NC State, an unranked team on the road, too. Oklahoma winning a huge road win over Tennessee. They found a way to beat Tennessee. I thought for sure Tennessee was going to win this one, especially in Knoxville, but nope. The Sooners found a way to win this one. A huge road win for them. Puts them in the playoff conversation now, too. Nebraska loses to USC. USC wins, but also worse than that, their quarterback goes down with injury, is out for the year now. Dalen Mariola is out for Nebraska. Their star quarterback's done for the year now. Season-ending injury there. That one sucks. And then, of course, you had the After Dark game, the big one, where College Game Day was at, Cincinnati and Utah. I thought this would be a closer game, but Utah dominated Cincinnati. I had Cincinnati winning that game, so I could not believe that Utah, a statement win, showing why they're still a contender for the Big 12. They're showing it why. And I thought Cincinnati was going to be a legit team, but they just got destroyed in that one. So let's look at our college picks in a little bit, but let's recap last week's NFL. Let's recap why I won MSP this week in Week 9. Starting off with the Thursday night game, I got that pick right away. The Ravens cover the spread easy on the Miami Dolphins. I thought that was going to be McDaniel here, especially the way he was running down the tunnel. Nope. They're keeping his job, but they did fire their general manager. The Dolphins fired their GM, though, finally. So Baltimore cover the spread. I mean, Lamar Jackson's first game back. Ravens still look good, but not as dominant as the team everyone expected them to be. So, yeah, still, give them time, though. The Ravens are for real. I think they're still coming for that division. Boy, and I won this Bears pick. A high-scoring affair, but, man, a late touchdown for the Bears. They could have just kicked the game-winning field goal and said they go for the touchdown. And that saved my pick in that one. They win 47-42 over the Bengals. Both games, the Bengals had high scoring. You scored like at least 40-plus points or something like that, or 30-plus, and lost both of them. At home, both. I mean, I can't believe the Bears, they're a good team. Caleb Williams, I mean, this is the most points the Bears have put up this year. I mean, that Bears offense is for real. Although they're playing against a bad Bengals defense, still, look out for the Bears after that game performance they had. And the 49ers took care of business, covered the spread. They beat the Giants. Not surprised in that one. Good pick for me in that one. And I took the Falcons plus 5.5, and they lost by a point. So I mean, I won that pick. Falcons almost came back in this one. They almost tied it. They could have sent it to overtime. And my biggest, craziest pick, taking the Steelers or the Colts. I had a feeling the Steelers were going to expose Daniel Jones, the Indianapolis team. They still have management there, but still, 5 turnovers Daniel Jones had, I think, in that one. He had a few interceptions, he had a few fumbles, too. I mean, Daniel Jones had a rough game. This Pittsburgh D is back to himself, hopefully, for the rest of the year, but still, yeah. That defense looked back to their normal form. Forcing a lot of turnovers. Probably one of their best wins of the season, I think, by far, the Steelers. Just beating one of the best teams in the NFL in the Colts right now. That explosive offense, they stopped them. I think the biggest upset was the Panthers over the Packers. Did not see this coming. What's worse about losing the Panthers, you lose your best tight end. One of your key offensive players. Tucker Kraft tears his ACL in that game. Out for the year now. That's a big blow to the Packers' Super Bowl chances, I think. They'll still be a good team. I just feel like losing Tucker Kraft's huge. I feel like that's going to hurt them. Just because he's he's one of their big pieces right there. Especially in the passing game for Jordan Love. That one, seriously, but still, other than that, the Packers look like shit offensively overall. The defense is what kept them in it. But seriously, the Packers, they look fraudulent again. I'm telling you, they're a good team, but, they look great at Steelers, and then they had a letdown against the Panthers. I think they're a little bit overrated this year. Overhyped. This shows it. They tied against the worst defense in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys. You lose to the Browns. Yes, the Panthers are playing better, but still, lose to the Panthers in Lambeau? This shows why this team cannot hang with the Bills. I'm telling you that right now. This shows it. I mean, seriously, this Green Bay team, they're seeing, I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but they ain't winning the championship. They ain't winning the Lombardi Trophy this year. Not only because after that loss, but also losing Tucker Kraft. I'm telling you, it's going to come back to haunt them. They might get, they'll get Jaden Reed back, but still, I just don't think losing one of your key players, that one hurts. Packers look like shit. You know what else kind of looked like frauds, even though it's a division game? The Detroit Lions. I mean, I did not expect Minnesota to come out there and J.J. McCarthy's first game back and just put up a good offensive game. I mean, Lions kept hanging in there, but man, Minnesota looked great. And that one, J. McCarthy, didn't look rusty at all. I mean, just to go into Detroit and win this one, that's a huge win for the Vikings. And they're still kind of in the conversation in this tightly contested NFC North with all teams at 500 or better, you know. So seriously, I mean, this NFC North is still probably one of the best divisions in football still, just like last year. And it's just getting good because how tightly the standings are right now. All 4 teams, you know, not that far behind for first place. It's going to be really might be a 4-team race, maybe a 3-team race, but still, this is crazy. The Broncos found a way to beat the Texans, winning. I mean, they won this one. They were plus 1.5 underdogs. They found a way to beat the Texans, but worse for the loss. The Texans. C.J. Stroud gets a concussion. Now he's ruled out for Week 10 this week. And the Chargers did not cover. They still won, but they didn't cover the 9.5. And I lost my pick of the week. I mean, the Jaguars could have covered, but then they just the Raiders get a late touchdown. They almost lost it too. But yeah, the Jaguars won by a point, but they didn't cover. And then I won the other 4 o'clock games, the other 2. The Rams covered the spread easily against the Saints. And the Buffalo Bills, man, beat the Chiefs again in the regular season. But can they? I wish I could find a way to be in the playoffs. I mean, yes, it's great to win our season, but come on. I want to win when it matters most against these guys, you know? But I felt like we could have blown this game this Sunday. We really almost blew it. They were just a Hail Mary away from sending this to overtime, or maybe going for a 2-point conversion the Chiefs were, you know? Seriously. We outplayed them offensively and defensively, but it's just the coaching it came down to still. You know, we still won, but just I'm telling you, it's the coaching. One of my Bills insiders said, you know, one of my sources saying that. And Seattle looked dominant against the Commanders. Really, first half domination was a difference maker, but worse that Jane Daniels gets injured again. My goodness, I mean, I think he might be done for this year too. It's just rough. Last year, he looked phenomenal. This year, he just can't stay healthy. He just hasn't been the Saints at the Packers game. He looked good at times, but just like he just can't stay healthy. And the pick that got me to win MSP this week, the Cardinals, I called it last week. They were going to beat the Cowboys on the road. And they sure as hell did. Jacoby Brissett looked good. That was one of my big upset picks to take in Arizona, who has choked a lot of games, Arizona has. But you knew they weren't going to choke against Dallas. So, yeah, good week 9 for me. I lost my pick of the week, but still managed to win this week. It's crazy. That was the way this NFL season's done this year. Now, let's move on to this week's college picks. Starting with Friday night on Fox, 9 o'clock games. Back to the Fox Friday night games now since the World Series is done. Congratulations, to the LA Dodgers for winning another World Series. Just wish it was the Yankees, but hey, they beat the Blue Jays. The World Series, the pennant state, the trophy stays in the greatest country in the world, the U.S. It ain't coming to Canada. So I'm glad the World Series stays where it should be, because baseball is America's favorite pastime. So good win for the Dodgers. But who can stop them, honestly? Blue Jays had the thing won in the Game 7. They were up a run. They could have had it won. They let the Dodgers come back and lost in extra innings. I mean, that's just heartbreaking for Blue Jays. I feel for them, but just like, that's rough. I mean, that's rough. Hey, not as bad as what the Yankees did last year in the World Series against the Dodgers, I will say. But all right, let's get into our college picks. Yeah, Northwestern at USC. This should be an interesting one. Number 19 USC coming off a huge win over Nebraska on the road. I think this won't be a letdown at all. USC takes care of business against Northwestern, wins at home. Dominant fashion. Northwestern's okay, but just USC is just too much for Northwestern to handle in this one. So, yeah, give me the Trojans. Big noon Saturday on Fox at noon. It is number 2 Indiana. Goes into Happy Valley. Goes into Penn State here. Beaver State. That's going to be a tough and road environment for them. All Penn's having a rough season, but still, keep an eye on this one. I'm going to pick Indiana still, but I'm just saying this maybe could be an upset alert just because the game being played at Penn State, If Indiana can beat Penn State, last time they beat them was 5 years ago in Indiana, the COVID year. Michael Penix Jr. having that game-winning 2-point conversion. It was a controversial call, but I remember that. That was the last time Indiana beat Penn State. But when's the last time they won at Pappy Valley? When's the last time they won in State College, So I'm going to take the Hoosiers, though. I just think there's that good of a team. They're going to put up at least 30 or 40, maybe 50 points in this one if they dominate. But if it's a close game, keep an eye on this one. I still think Penn State will win, though. Indiana. Indiana will win, but Penn State, don't be surprised they keep it close, though. ABC at noon, it's a top 10 matchup here. BYU and Texas Tech. This is a huge one for playoff implications, but also for the Big 12. College game is going to be at Lubbock at Texas Tech, so since the Chiefs have the bye, I wouldn't be surprised they put Patrick Mahomes there. God, this would suck about this week's college game. You have to watch Patrick Mahomes on there. It is alma mater, Texas Tech, But I'm going to take BYU, not only because I hate Texas Tech as Patrick Mahomes, but also just I think BYU is a better team. They're trying to learn from the mistakes they made last year. They could have made the playoffs last year, but they failed. They choked some games, So I got to go BYU in this one. I feel like they got some unfinished business after missing out on the playoffs last year. I think they'll take care of business at Texas Tech. I think they'll find a way to do it. Next, noon on TNT, it is Colorado at West Virginia. Both 3-6, both desperate for wins. Both can't afford a loss, so this is a huge one. Coach Prime heads to Morgantown, but, I'm going to take West Virginia in this one. Colorado's not the same. Coach Prime's not been the same since losing, Shedeur, and Travis Hunter to the NFL draft. So I'm going to take the Mountaineers, especially at home. West Virginia's going to win this one. Rich Rodriguez gets a huge win over Colorado just because beating Coach Prime's a big deal for this West Virginia team. I feel like this crowd's going to be packed. It's going to be a very good crowd for that one. 3:30 slate on ABC. This is a big matchup here for the SEC. Number 3, Texas A&M goes in a tough road test at Missouri. That's number 22, Missouri. So that's going to be a good matchup here. Keep an eye on this one for upset alert possibly, but I think Texas Tech takes care of business on the road. I think I got to go the Aggies this one. They've been such an elite team. This has been the most improved Texas Tech team. They usually always find a way to fold, but I feel like this is a much improved team. They're playing so much better than the years. I haven't seen this good of a team since the Johnny Manziel days. This might be better than a Johnny Manziel team. They actually make the playoffs and have a chance for a national championship. So yeah, I got to go Texas Tech in this one. Next, a top 25 matchup in Iowa, Big Ten matchup, 3:30 on CBS. It is Oregon at Iowa. This could be a tricky one for Oregon, this one. Because Iowa's had times pulled some top 10 upsets before. Remember, they beat Ohio State. They put up 55 points. Their Iowa offense has improved. They put them in the playoff rankings this week. But I'm going to take the Oregon Ducks this one. I think hostile environment in Iowa, but they've managed to get the job done. So give me the Oregon Ducks this one. Syracuse at Miami. Syracuse can't afford another loss. They got to win their last 3 games to get bowl eligible, and it's going to be a tough stretch. They got Miami and Notre Dame the next 2 on the road, and then they finish with Boston College. If they can get past those Notre Dame and Miami, if they can beat one of those 2, I think they had a great chance of making bowl eligible for sure. They'll beat Boston College no doubt in the last week of the season. But I would say that, but I got to go Miami just because they're pissed. Miami's just pissed off after another tough loss again, They lose to SMU. They're going to try to keep their playoff hopes alive. So I got to go Miami in this one. And plus, they think about last year's loss against Syracuse last year. So I think this time it's in Miami. So I got to go the Hurricanes this one. This is a redemption game for them for sure. After thinking of last year. They ended the season last year. Now the prime time games. Couple big crucial ACC matchups here. Wake Forest at Virginia. Virginia, we're actually in the playoff bracket right now. So yeah, since they're the only undefeated team left in conference play, they're 8-1 overall, but they're 5-0 in conference play. This one could be tricky, but I got to go Virginia still. I think UVA gets it done against Wake Forest. I think they're a playoff team this year. Sounds bad coming as a Virginia Tech fan. 10-year rival, but they look like this year. And offense, especially at Chet. I can't. I'm a little scared of playing this year. I'm afraid this might be the year Virginia beats Virginia Tech, unfortunately. Next, Cal at Louisville. Louisville, huge win in Blacksburg last week. Cal still needs 1 win to get bowl eligible. They've lost 2 in a row. But I'm going to go Louisville in this one just because they just look like that good of a team. Seriously, Louisville's for real. And they got past that huge road test at Virginia Tech last week. Now, I can see them being a playoff contender now. Their path is clear. So I gotta go Louisville on this one. This one's kind of a toilet bowl. I thought it would be a good matchup if both these teams had high expectations, but this is Clemson, Florida State, the toilet bowl version of it. Usually they're like top 5, top 10 matchup, but yeah. I would say Clemson, but then again, Clemson lost to Duke at home for the first time in like 40 plus years. So I'm gonna go with the Seminoles. I'm going Florida State in this one. Next matchup here, the traditional November matchup between LSU and Alabama. Usually I take LSU, but Bama is going to dominate when LSU is having a rough patch, trying to find a new head coach after firing Brian Kelly, having trouble with their athletic record because their governors make a lot of criticism about this athletic program. So yeah, it's a mess at LSU right now. So I got to go Alabama on this one. Last but not least, this is a good one. 7-1 Navy against number 10 Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been running the table since an 0-2 start. And I think they'll beat Navy pretty easily. Not just because of that, but just think they want to show like why they deserve to be in the playoffs. They want to show why they're still a playoff team, trying to get back to the national championship. So I got to go Notre Dame in this one. Those are your college picks for Week 11. Now let's move on to Week 10 NFL picks for this week. Starting with tomorrow's game on Amazon Prime. Thursday Night Football. It is an AFC West showdown. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. Spread is 9.5. Favored by the Broncos. I'm going to take the plus 9.5. I'm going to take the Raiders in the points this one. I don't see Denver covering this one. I could see this being a closely contested game. The way the Raiders came so close to knocking the Jaguars. I can see this being a close game, but I think the Broncos will win, but barely. So I'll take the plus 9.5. The Raiders in that one. Sunday game starting with an AM game. The final two international games. First of two, because next week, because the following week, Week 11, will be the final international game of the year. Final AM game, thank God. We have 9:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Is the Atlanta Falcons at the Indianapolis Colts. This game is in Berlin, Germany. You know, so this will be an interesting one. Falcons were so close to knock out. They lost by a point to the Patriots. Meanwhile, the Colts, first time they lost a game since like Week 4. Yeah, lost to Steelers. I mean, both these teams come up with losses. The spread's 6.5 favored by the Colts. I'm going to take the points this one too. I'm going to take the plus 6.5 for the Falcons, but I think the Colts will win, but it's going to be a lot closer because this Falcons team is just so unexpected. You know, they're such a weird team. Up and down all year. They're such a bizarre team, honestly. So I'll take the Falcons in this spread in this one. This is a massive toilet bowl in the AFC. The Cleveland Browns at the New York Jets. This is started the 1 o'clock slates here. Picks now. Cleveland's favored by 2.5 on the road at MetLife Stadium. So I'm going to take the Browns to cover. Browns will beat the Jets in this toilet bowl. No doubt about it. Next, the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. This is such a big mismatch. Saints are 1-8. Meanwhile, the Panthers having a winning record, having a really impressive season. You know, this is a team that could sneak into the playoffs here, folks, especially after that win in Lambeau. So I'm going to take the Panthers to cover 5.5. And this is my pick of the week, the Carolina Panthers. You heard it. They're my pick of the week, the Panthers are. So, sounds crazy, but I'm going to go with Panthers this week. Last time I picked the Panthers for pick of the week, I won it. So I'm going to do it again, just like last year. Give me Carolina. Next, the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Last time these two met, I was at the stadium Week 3 this past year, back September in Buffalo. Bills won 31-21. They didn't cover, but still they won. Dolphins didn't make it. They made it tough on us that game. I think they're favored by 9.5 in Miami on the road. Big road favorites, but I'm gonna think the Bills will cover because they're feeling great. They dominated the Panthers. They beat the Chiefs again, and they should take care of business against the Dolphins, no problem. Bills by 10. A critical AFC South showdown. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Actually, this is more important to the Texans, but this is important to the Jaguars too. That's because Jaguars are in a wild card spot. They're trying to hold on to a wild card spot right now. So I'm going to take the Jaguars, and they'll sweep the Houston Texans this year. That's what I like in that one. Another 1 o'clock game. This is a good one here. Baltimore Ravens at the Minnesota Vikings. This could be a really good quarterback matchup. You know, Lamar, his second game back. J.J. McCarthy, his second game back. Both coming back from injuries. You know, good wins too. But I mean, Ravens, desperation. They're trying to get on a winning streak, you know, just to keep themselves back in the playoff picture. Vikings, meanwhile, they're in the playoff conversation too. So this is a desperate game for both of them too. I'm going to take the Ravens and the 3.5 to cover just because I just feel like they're just the more talented team. Although the Vikings do got the best receiver in the league, no doubt about it. They got a great defense, but I just think Baltimore just has another good offensive display, you know. This could be a shootout, though. Keep an eye on it. It could be a shootout maybe, but I like Baltimore just because I think they're the better team in this one. This is a really good one. This next one, the New England Patriots at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both really quarterbacks having great MVP caliber seasons. The Drake May versus Baker Mayfield. Should be a great quarterback matchup in this one. Oh, who do I go with? This is a tough one, but I'm gonna take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I think they're. I mean, once they start getting more healthy, they'll be fine. I think the Bucs win this one. I think they're the better team than New England. New England's great. Don't get me wrong, but I like the Buccaneers this one. I think they'll help the Bills out too. The last of the 1 o'clock slate, the New York Giants at the Chicago Bears. Bears are favored by 3.5. They'll cover this one. Giants aren't that good. Bears offense looks great, especially after that 47, that high scoring game against the Bengals last week. I like the Bears this one. Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. This one's kind of a tricky pick. I mean, the Cardinals are playing a little bit better, and Seattle's look dominant. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win by a touchdown. They'll cover that spread. Just because I think Seattle looks like the better team in the NFC West. Rams look good too, don't get me wrong, but just, oh my God, Seattle's been dominant. Another 4 o'clock game. This is the Detroit Lions at the Washington Commanders. This is America's game of the week on Fox, but it's not going to be a good game at all. I mean, on paper before the season started, it was supposed to be because the Commanders dominated the Lions in the playoff game. This is the last time these two met. But the Lions coming off a a tough loss to the Vikings. Commanders got embarrassed on national TV by the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. So Lions are going to go into Washington. They're going to cover this spread. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to dominate the Commanders, depending on if Jayden Daniels plays or not. So give me the Lions in this one. Last of the 4 o'clock slate is the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. Last time these two met, 49ers won in overtime. Surprised me in that one. Depending on who wins this one. I mean, I'm going to take the 49ers in the points. I think this will come down to a game-winning field goal. It'll be a close game. Still, this is a huge one for the division. This between these two teams. Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a great matchup here. Pittsburgh Steelers at the LA Chargers. A good AFC matchup here. Good quarterback matchup. Justin Herbert versus Aaron Rodgers. Steelers defense looks back, but of course, Chargers won last week, but they can't catch a break with these O-lineman injuries. They're just O-line so fragile. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one just because the Chargers are so beat up with injuries right now. And the Steelers, they're going to get another huge win beating the Chargers, I think, come Sunday Football in LA. And to wrap things up, this is the game of the week, in my opinion, this week. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers, Monday Night Football in Lambeau Field. You can't beat this. This game is going to heavily impact the 1 seed in the NFC. Yes, both these teams got to play the Lions again. Eagles play them the following week after the Packers. Packers got to play Detroit on Thanksgiving. So both these teams will face Detroit one more time. So, but still, this is a game I feel like it's going to heavily impact the most. Besides them playing Detroit one more time, As much as I would take the Eagles because of the injuries the Packers had, suffered entire crap, but still, they might get Jayden Reed back. I'm hearing rumors about the Packers might have him back this week. That's what the rumors going around right now. Jayden Reed could be returning this Monday night. Maybe the week after against the Giants, but still, there's a good chance he returns at some point this month. So I'm going to take the Packers. They've done well coming off losses, I've noticed this year. Much as I want to take the Eagles, because another reason why I take the Eagles is because they're coming off a bye week. Packers just had to play the Panthers. I mean, I just feel like prime time, this Packers defense got to show up, stop the tush push, stop, Saquon Barkley, I hate doing this, but I picked the Packers this week. Just because. I think Eagles are going to get exposed this week, folks. I really think so. So, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in this week on It's Dater Mick. Hope that I get another win in MSP this week. Go back-to-back weeks. We'll see, though. Hope you enjoy your football weekend. We will see you all next week.